So the new Agent Veto is being leaked and released and all of that, so I thought I'd give my first reactions to it. Well, I think the best way of doing this is doing it off the live stream because they are talking about the abilities and giving us some information, so let's just hear what they say. So this is a Sentinel agent called Veto.
And we can get your thoughts on it. So let's talk about the first one, and that is the ultimate ability, which we
is
saw in the trailer. It's called Evolution. So what happens here with Veto, but also what does it do for him, Nick?
Yeah, so Evolution is, as you see, it's the evolution of Veto with his mutation.
That's crazy.
And so he'll become immune to almost all utility. There's still some things that he's not immune to, but as you can see...
So, the ult is just, you're immune to all utility. Now, it isn't all utility, as I go into in just a second. Things like Chamber ult, Jet Knives, anything that is like a weapon, you aren't immune to. Obviously, like, you aren't immune to, like, smokes. So Viper's Pit, for instance, you know, stuff like that as well. And obviously just smokes in general. It's not like they just disappear as you walk through them, right? So there are things that, you know, you're not immune to. But things like, as we see here, Raze ult, Breach
so
ult,
he'll become immune to...
you know, they just do nothing, right? No flash, no nothing. That just doesn't affect you whatsoever in the ult. So that, obviously... kind of a cool ult, kind of a cool, crazy little ult there. There's also this, his gameplay trailer, so we can see how much his ult actually costs. It costs 8. At least it does here in the gameplay trailer, so let's just assume that is what it
utility
costs.
that does damage, but I would call out that for all the aimers out there, Jet's Blade Storm, Chamber's Weapons, Tour de Force Headhunter, and Neon's Overdrive still bypass Veto's ultimate evolution.
Okay.
So, that's the ult. Essentially, I'm not sure they mentioned how long it lasts, but obviously I think that's a pretty good ult. Not being hit by utility, especially at higher levels, is pretty good. Let's move on to the next ability.
So it's an actual evolution.
Got
every
it.
single
Yeah,
one.
Oh yeah, he also gains some health as
every
as
way
it's
that
going
you
on.
could imagine. All right, let's talk about the next ability here. We have Interceptor. Nick, what is this? It feels a little bit like, is this the it's a nullifier, if you will, of abilities and stuff?
Yeah, basically that's right. So he's got to set it up, he's got to kind of pre-place it, but and he has to reactivate it to turn it on.
So this is kind of crazy, right? An ability that destroys a gecko
so he's got to set it up, he's got to
is kind of crazy.
And he has to reactivate it to turn
now,
it on.
one thing before you all freak out is, as they're about to say as well, Mixwell's about to explain that it's quite loud, right? It's quite loud. You can shoot it. You can destroy it. And there is a cooldown to it as well, I believe.
But it will cover himself and his team if people are more carelessly tossing things out there.
But obviously, just something that just insta-destroys utility, very, very strong. And again, if we come to the trailer, there's quite some interesting examples of how they use it in here as well, where there's an example where they run up and just destroy some utility. If I can try and find it. Which I think was quite interesting, right? So, like, imagine you're, like, lurking on the side of the map, there's a bunch of Sentinel utility down. You just, like, throw it down and, like, and destroy it all. If I can find it, where is it? But here, yeah. So, like, you just throw it here and it destroys all the Sentinel utility down, right? Like, interesting use case there. That, to me, seems, like, pretty good, right? Like, that... like, oh, just instantly destroys the Lombot. And I'm guessing you don't even have to see it, right? Like, it doesn't even, like, as long as it's just there. I'm not sure with stuff like a Lombot, like, in this clip, like, he can see the Lombot first. I'm not sure if you need to be able to see that for it to destroy it or not. But we can't see whatever is over here, right? Probably like a turret or something, or maybe a nanoswarm here as well that it just insta-destroys. So, clearly, I mean, attack side, because that's the thing. At first, of course, you think about defense side usage for this ability. But attack side use for this ability could be kind of crazy in terms of countering other Sentinels. Now, I'm not exactly sure what happens if two of them meet each other. Maybe they talk about this in this.
And so it's a signature ability, and it does have a cooldown. It can be destroyed.
So it can be destroyed. Does have a cooldown, I guess, if it's destroyed.
And so it also has a specific set of rules and what it can target, which is a lot of things, though. And so it also makes a ton of noise. Mixwell's played it a bit, and I think he can...
So yeah, Mixwell's just going to talk about how if you time it well, essentially, then it is very strong, right? That if you time it on an... like, if they're about to exec and you put this thing down, and then they use all their util just as you put it down, and it just destroys them all, obviously that's Pretty
something
good.
Yeah,
like that.
it's like Reyna's Leer in terms of how you might throw it, and so, but it doesn't go through walls, but it does float and sort of hover in where you place it. So you
Got
can
it.
get it above like doorways as people try to enter into mains or something like that, and make it a little bit difficult to destroy it. But you should always know where it is if you play a little bit slow, and that's what we're hoping with Veto, that he slows it down by kind of pure fear in a way.
Got it. Makes one.
You can break it with one bullet as well. I think it has 20 HP, so it's not like super hard to break.
Very easy to kind of.
Well, there you go. There's something from Mixwell. So that ability obviously looking pretty strong overall. Let's move to the next thing.
Absolutely. So Chokehold is one of his other purchased abilities. It's basically his form of a trap. So he'll take this grenade out of his arm and he'll toss it down, and that's where he'll create the trap. Very similar to Chamber's trademark in terms of like you need line of sight to then proc it. But once it's procced, it's like a fade seize. People in the location will get tethered to the center, and they'll be deaf and decayed. So something that I'd like to do as Veto during playtest is set the trap up and my teleporter nearby and try to catch somebody. Trap goes off, I teleport, they can't hear it. I swing from an unexpected angle.
So, we'll get to the teleport in a second. So it's like a Sentinel's Fate Seeds, right? This one is more straightforward, I think, in terms of understanding how it works. It's basically like a Sentinel Fate Seeds. I think, thank God they nerfed Teo, because this is a combo tool. Obviously, it could be very, very strong, right? And still could be, right? With like Raze and stuff, but, or Teo even. Thank God they nerfed Teo. Imagine what the devs were doing when they had the original Teo with this. I guess this is also the counter to Teo, though, is that you just put this up and it destroys the missiles. I suppose. Maybe. Perhaps. But obviously, this one, yeah, pretty easy to understand how that works. You know, you put down a little trap. People walk into it, and then they are fade seized. So that one shouldn't take, you know, too much explaining. And then the final ability is this TP. So you can see we've got 2 charges of this thing here. And we put down one, and we put down another. And so this is obviously the thing that destroys. This is from the trailer. And so you see you have to activate this as well. So that is an important point that I didn't perhaps pick on enough. Is you do have to activate this. Right, so you can see Interceptor active. So it's up there, and then now it's active. Right, and I guess it's active for this amount of time. Then you have this TP. Right, so you can TP like so. You got the potential to TP somewhere else as well. Right, so this trap over here now goes off. We're now looking at this and TPing over here. So the Interceptor is still active at this point. So I don't think it's going to be absolutely crazy in terms of like the intercepting, I mean, because once you recognize that the Interceptor is up, you just know that you have to wait. Right, like he's going to slow you down though, and that obviously is pretty big. And there's really nothing you can do about it because without any utility, are you really going to push something? Probably not. This is a good counter to. This is a weird agent to bring out at this point in the game because at this point in the game, the initiators aren't very good, and this is a very good counter to initiators. But things like Viper, I'm not sure you can intercept a Viper wall going up. So you know, like just. Oh, the Interceptor's active? Well, I'm going to put my Viper Wall up and potentially just walk past you, right? Like, if we were here on Corrode and this Interceptor was active and I've got my Viper Wall over towards B, right? And I just walk up. So it seems like a very good counter to specific things, but maybe not everything. Which is an interesting thing that I'm not sure we really have in the game that much, you know, in terms of, like, things that hard counter a thing. But yeah, these teleports as well in terms of that ability. It looks like it's single charges, right? This doesn't refresh. It's not like Chamber. But you essentially have 2 different teleports that you have. We heard the dev kind of briefly talk about, like, you know, this thing deafens people. So potentially putting a TP, like, you know, somewhere behind them. They get trapped in it and you TP the other side of them kind of thing. Could be quite fun in a way. But obviously, yeah, you know, ulting here and not getting hit by any of that util, that's also quite good. So overall thoughts on the agent. I think it will be good. And it gets better the kind of higher up the ranks and into pro you go, right? Because obviously the better people's utility usage is, the better this agent is, because then it's countering the good utility usage, right? So I think it's good. I know a lot of people will think that it's going to be completely broken, but based on some of the things that, you know, I've been hearing there about, like, you know, oh, you can destroy this thing. It has a cooldown. It's only active for a certain amount of time in terms of destroying util. You know, those things I think are going to balance this out and it's going to be okay to play against. The thing that I'm a little bit worried about is that it is going to counter certain things, you know, like Gecko pretty hard, but other things like Viper, maybe not so much, right? that I'm a little bit, you know, suspicious about if this agent does end up being pretty good. But overall, this looks like a pretty useful agent to have in the game, and one that I assume will be, yeah, pretty good.